All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Here we go. We're day number 2 of our 10-day challenge. We're talking about each of the 10 indicators one day at a time. And what we want you to make sure you do is that you go to 10indicators.com, get a copy of the book, and download your Wheel of Success and take your 10 indicators assessment. It's going to help you create a current reality of where your school is and then a vision for the future. And so if you've got your wheel, Lauren, can you pop up your blank copy of the wheel?
Yep.
If you go to the page, you'll be able to download the workbook and have a wheel of your own. But we're on indicator 2, right? So this is quality work of the school is where we're going to focus this session on. And remember, the purpose of just having this wheel in play and taking the 10 indicators assessment is to create common language, right? So you can really focus your school improvement processes as a team, talking about the same things, and you as a leader can empower and delegate and communicate with clarity to where we currently are, everybody, and then where we're going, right? So Lauren, let's take a look at indicator number 2 when you get a chance. Go ahead and
Sure.
put it up. So if you're listening at our podcast, you can download this. The link is in the show notes for you to be able to download this workbook that Lauren is showing right now that has each of the sub standards of each performance indicator. All right. And if you're on the YouTube or you're watching us on video, then you can see it, right? So just be careful unless you're driving. If you're driving, just stay focused on the road, everybody. So, all right, so here we go. So indicator number 2. Now we talked about indicator 1 was a clear and sustained mission and vision, and 2 is focusing on the quality work of the school. So again, there's 3 substandards here. And the first one, which might be, maybe really what drives the rest of the substandards is school-wide goals and performance indicators for student learning. And so the purpose of school, everybody, is, Lauren, to do what? What's the purpose of school?
Learn.
Yeah, to learn,
Educate students.
right? To educate, not just academically, but socially and communication wise and all these other skills, right? But what if you've done your mission and vision correctly, your vision has created exactly what the word is. It's a vision for what success will look like. And once I have my vision, then I can start to pull out aspects of my vision and write a goal. And even, Lauren, we were just sharing, you could take each of these 10 indicators and you could just write a goal per indicator. It could be a 90-day goal, could be an annual goal, whatever you choose. But here's what I know, and this is a fact. A goal without a strategy is just a wish. So when I have my goal, it helps me with my recruiting. It helps me with my training. It helps me with my progress monitoring. But, if I don't have a goal, I'm just working, right? And many of you, maybe you, I know I have worked in the schools where I was just working. I didn't really know what I was working for. So Lauren, I think what you said earlier, right? The goal is, well, this is what we're shooting for. And Dave Ramsey calls it, I think he said goals are so like words with work clothes or something like that, right? It's like what we're all trying to get to at this end point. What are
Yeah.
some of your thoughts around this first substandard, Lauren?
Yeah, just kind of touching on what you had said is, this standard, we talk a lot about your education plan, but really the framework that we'll get into when you're asking some of these questions and reflecting on your education plan can really be applied to any of the indicators that are in the book, as you mentioned. And I think that's the cool thing about this book is that it creates a framework for you on, your road to success.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really drives every meeting you have. So like my goals outline my monthly board report. My goals outline our weekly tacticals, right? When we have our daily stand-ups with our team, like hearing what they're working on lets me, okay, yes, they're working towards this goal. And so it creates that common language and it aligns resources and everybody is working towards something. Now, a lot of people ask, yeah, but does it have to be a SMART goal? Well, sure, write it as a SMART goal. That's fine. because that T is so important, right? Because the T is the timetable, and really what the T creates in a SMART goal is just urgency. You know, what are we working towards? But odds are, everybody, that you're not going to get the timetable right. Like most goals aren't achieved in a timely manner. If they were, the goal may have been set too low, which is one of the mistakes that people make when they write goals, is they write a goal that wasn't too high and missed, is that they wrote a goal too low and hit. So the book talks about how to write effective goals, what are some common mistakes around goals, and how to best utilize them. But what we wanted to make sure that we just talked a little bit about, right? So these substandards underwriting the goals, about having the principles and the tenets of the education plan, right? So this is really, diving into what's being taught, how it's being taught, how it's being assessed, right? How everybody knows. It's really just good instructional practices that most high performing, or if not all high performing schools, just have as common language. And I think, Lauren, you were going to share some questions around this, right?
Yeah. So what will the students learn? What is the curriculum of the school? How will it be taught? What are the key instructional methods the teachers will use? How will you know they learned it? And what's your action going to be if they haven't? So really some just great reflection questions as you're building out your school master schedule and your programming and making curriculum choices, to think through these questions as a leadership team.
Yeah, right. I mean, if we want to be an A school, right? If that's our ultimate goal, is to be a high performing A school that all kids meet or exceed growth. I mean, whatever your goal is, it has to have some sort of common strategy around it. And if you've got, 80% of your teachers kind of doing their own thing, that's really difficult to lead and manage and train around and make decisions around. So, the common question that I get is, hey Tom, what's the best education plan? I just say, the one you decide to implement, whatever it is, that's everybody really, really focus. Now, and that might work for 70 to 80% of your kids, and you're obviously going to need to personalize, right? If you really want to make that happen. And I think I was just, sharing with Lauren, prior to this, was that one of the common, mistakes I made, and when I started writing this book 10 years ago, is really being like, okay, everybody's just got to do the same thing. And the school that I'm, the executive director now, I mean, they've been an A school for 20 years, very high performing academics. And not everybody does the same thing, but they do all know what the curriculum is, and not everybody has the same instructional methods. But what they do have is high standards of excellence for academic work, right? All kids, like you'll see kids writing out all of their math. They do a lot of writing, they do a lot of speaking, they do a lot of, it's a lot of these skills that kids need to be successful academically, not just in their middle school, but in their high school and their college career. And I think that really opened my eyes that you're really just looking for um, common vision. And so
Yeah.
when you got your goals in play, then you could start to have common conversations. And Lauren, I mean, you were a principal of one of the highest performing schools in the state of North Carolina for years. So how does this resonate with you and your guys' practices?
Sure. Yeah. I think what I was wanting to share is kind of touching on what you had said. It's agreed upon parameters. So
Mm.
it's based on your mission and vision. What are our agreed upon parameters? What are the non-negotiables for our school? And for some schools, it might be a set curriculum. For other schools, it might be a teaching method that you expect everyone to see. It all goes back to whatever is your mission and vision. And so you can look at it through that lens versus, like you said, it doesn't all have to be, we're all teaching Saxon math curriculum. So for us at my school, we had more of just agreed upon parameters. And some of them being, if students were, 90th percentile or above, they were set on a specific pathway. And the agreed upon measure there was we used MAP testing. And so everyone knew that that was the criteria that we set. If students fell in that category, they were going to be set on this pathway. And then on the other end, teachers knew if students were below 60th percentile, that activated a new pathway for them and the instructional methods that we expected to be put in place based on that agreed upon criteria.
Yeah. And just, critical pieces, right? So I can hear everybody who is listening to this, well, not all my teachers agree, or how do you get them to that point? That's the next indicator, everybody. We're going to talk about that in indicator 3. But data leaves clues, results leave clues. But if you don't have a way to just get to, well, what are our results, you can't make that next step of your plan. So if everybody's on the same page and say, hey, we do map 3 times a year, or we do a weekly common assessment, whatever it may be, there's lots of different ways. So this, chapter of this book really talks about, those key aspects. What are students going to learn? What are the common instructional methods? How will we know that they've learned it? And then what are we going to do when they do or don't, right? What's that prevention and intervention strategy to close that academic gap? But most importantly, what's also that next step to enrich and enhance and accelerate the learning, and that way all of your students have a chance to grow at their own pace. So if you haven't done so, go to 10indicators.com. You can take the online assessment. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes, and the results are emailed directly to you. And then you can print that out. Your whole team can take it and have a conversation around the first 2 indicators. And then start to create your plan, and the book can help you do that. So, all right, thanks everybody for listening in. Stay tuned tomorrow as we start to talk about indicator number 3, which is really, really starting to focus on the quality work of the students through data-driven practices.